What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Checkowitz. Welcome back to the Kaged Review, and I figured for my first post, this is the Kaged Review, so I'm going to do a review. So I have a lot of reviews to do, and I'm going to do stuff for Marvel, DC movies, The Walking Dead. I got a lot to catch up on there. Tomorrow I'm going to do a reaction for Ginger, so get something back for the Rock and Metal review. But I am a few movies behind in the Marvel and DC movies. And that starts with Wonder Woman 1984. I'm still going to do a non-spoiler and spoiler review for both, for all of these movies. And I think that's just because that's the format that I've always done, and that's the way I like to do it. So for the non-spoiler review, Wonder Woman 1984, directed by Patty Jenkins. You don't have a big cast of characters here. You have Gal Gadot, who reprises the role as Diana Prince. You have Chris Pine coming back as Steve Trevor. Pedro Pascal, he plays Max Lord in this. And then you also have Kristen Wiig, who plays Minerva or Cheetah. And so, this movie was not nearly as good as the first movie. I thought that it really lacked a lot of direction. I think that it tried too hard to do too many things. And eventually, none of them worked out nearly as good. You start out with this very, very cool scene at the beginning. It's a sequence of Diana Prince when she's a young girl. She's back in her homeland, and they're doing kind of like this own version of Olympics. And there's this big contest with a bunch of the Amazons. And there's a little moral to it, and I thought it was a very cool scene. It showed a couple of things, but it really went nowhere, and that was the really sad part about this entire scene, was that overall this didn't play into the rest of the movie at all. It was a really great setup for a good moral to the movie if they went somewhere with it, but they didn't. And so from there you have Diana Prince. She shows up, she's trying to stop a bank heist, and this whole scene was really bad. And I mean just really bad. It was very campy, cheesy. And at first I thought they were trying to make the movie kind of like a 1980s movie, something like Batman and Robin or Batman Forever, where, you know, the villains were just over the top and just acting kind of silly. But no, that's just the way it was filmed. It was really that bad. It was Batman Forever, you know what I mean? It just over the top people who just had these cheesy lines, overacting like crazy. It was horrible. So from there we get to meet Max Lord, this oil tycoon who is in search of this rock that is able to grant wishes. And one thing that he does, he decides a wish to become the rock. And so anytime he grants somebody a wish, he gets a little bit something back himself. He gets a little power for himself. And so this is how everything kind of starts to develop. Kristen Wiig's character, she's this very awkward, trope-filled character, very nerdy that, you know, does something, in this case, wishes on this wish stone, and suddenly, you know, she's more attractive to people, she's more confident. You know, you see the nerd going to the, you know, the beauty, and then to the person who wants just all the power now because she's getting a taste of like the good life. And so that's kind of how the Cheetah character develops. And I won't like give them any mess for taking liberties with the Cheetah character, as long as it's done well. And this was okay. It was done okay. But a lot of the writing for this movie was not done well. I think Cheetah was put in there to have a physical fight, because at this point you have Max Lord, and again, non-spoiler, so I don't want to get into too many details, but Max Lord and Diana Prince have a face-off, but it's not a physical confrontation. So I think that's something they wanted to have in here, was the physical confrontation, and so they just kind of added Cheetah in. So that was one thing that was kind of disappointing about Cheetah. Another thing that was disappointing about Cheetah was the final look. It was terrible. It was really, really bad. I was shocked at how bad it was, actually. It looked like something you would see in a TV series where they had a low budget. Like, it was just bad. I was really, really happy with the first movie, and I feel like this was such a letdown with all these things. You did have some very good sequences in here. You had some great action sequences. There is a little road sequence where there's this convoy of armored cars. Diana is trying to infiltrate, and I thought that was done amazingly well. The cheetah fight scene was done in like a dark nighttime area, and so that was kind of hard to see, but you know, it is what it is. It could have been done better, but it was still fun to watch, I think. But nothing compared to a couple of sequences you got from the first movie, where you're especially talking about how, like, you have the battleground, you know, Ground Zero or whatever it was. I thought that was absolutely amazing. When they invaded the town in Germany and you had the tower fight, I thought that was absolutely amazing. And so unfortunately it was very lackluster in that respect. You didn't have anything like that in this movie. I think they tried to play on too many tropes, for sure. They tried to do the whole, like, independent woman thing that they did from the first movie. I actually thought that the first movie did it very well. I don't think it was executed quite as well here. The Steve Trevor thing, let's talk about this for a second. So I had real big issue with the way they brought Steve Trevor back into this movie, into this story. It didn't make sense. It wasn't executed well at all. And at the end of the day, you're just kind of scratching your head as to how the hell he showed up in the first place. And then what happens afterward. And I'll get into that again in spoilers. I don't want to talk a lot about it because there's a lot of things that, you know, I want to save. Overall, really disappointed in this. I feel like they missed a lot on this one. And I mean a lot. I was genuinely surprised. So if I have to grade this, I would give it like a halfway, a 5 out of 10. There were some enjoyable moments on it. I did like the convoy scene. I liked the intro to the movie, the little Olympics thing that they had going on. But so many things, especially toward the end, just did not make sense at all. It wasn't written very well. There's one thing in particular that happens at the end with the wishes that involves like a lot of people, and man, I'm just like, no, that would never happen. So yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in spoilers. I will post that video either tonight or tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. So ladies and gentlemen, that's where I'm at with it. 5 out of 10. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Kaged Nation, out.